Hello, folks. This is Maria Abreu from Abreu and Associates. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you like the content of the video, hit the like button and make sure to share. So, folks, more on banking. We had a question. I had someone post this as a result of another video that I did talking about interest rates on loans. And it says, wow, 12 to 16%. Is that the same for citizens or only foreign investors? It's the same for everyone, folks. The only way foreigners have a little bit of a disadvantage over citizens is when it comes to the amount of the loan. For instance, citizens could get 80 to 90% loan on, let's say, purchase of property, whereas foreigners would have a 60 to 70% coverage by the loan. So that would be the only difference. But the interest rates are the same for everyone. Okay, they tend to be a bit high in this country. And there are things that are higher not because you are a foreigner, but because it's the rule in the country. It's what is common in the country. And I'll give you an example: buying a car. Cars are much more expensive to buy here than in the States, even if the car is used. And the reason for that is because the DR doesn't manufacture cars. Most cars are imported. That being the case, they factor into the cost the importation tax of that vehicle. So, there are things in the DR that tend to be more expensive, and interest rates just happen to be one of them. Okay, so when it comes down to a mortgage, it's always good to shop around because it will depend upon the financial institution. It'll depend on the bank. You know, it's very common. Like, for example, the banks that are more well known, Popular, Banco de Reservas, BHD, the interest rates tend to be higher than if you go with a credit union. Okay, in the country. So for those who are residents, and they have legal status, it's easier for you to shop around for a financial institution with lower rates. And credit unions, they don't really deal with foreigners too much. They deal with people who have status. So that's an option, okay? What they call asociaciones. So those are smaller financial institutions, and um, the credit rate is a lot smaller. The interest rate is a lot smaller. So it's a lot less. So it's something to keep in mind. That's why when it comes to mortgage, and one of the things that is being requested by most financial institutions, which was not the norm before, is that people have legal status. They have to be residents. So things are changing, and that involves the interest rates. So I would say when it comes down to mortgages, after you get your legal status, shop around because the smaller institutions have lower interest rates, okay? You also have to consider that there is such a thing as developer financing. A good amount of my clients just do a payment plan with the developer, especially when they're buying pre-construction, okay? So you pay a certain percentage to, let's say, separate it by this phase of the construction. Second phase, you pay, XO percentage and so on and so forth. And then by the time the property is ready to be transferred to you, then that's when you have to pay the final percentage to cover the entire amount. So you can do financing directly with the developer, especially if you're buying something that's going to be complete in a year, year and a half. And what a lot of people do is that they'll just, pay the developer by phases, okay? And then the final amount, whether it's 50%, whether it's 60%, they'll just finance that. That's another thing that you can do, okay? So you have a lot of options when it comes to financing. It just depends upon how flexible you are and the options provided by the seller. Developers are great when it comes to financing. And by the way, they also have the in with banks that are willing to finance to foreigners at a pretty decent rate. So stuff to keep in mind, folks. Okay.